And we are live on a Tuesday night. Game 6 of the World Series. Dodgers looking to close it out. All in on high school sports. Kurt Valenti, Jennifer Valenti.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm well. Yourself?
I'm good. We're getting a hello already from Mike the Spike. Hello, Mike the Spike. How are you? Thank you for joining. And let's talk some high school sports. You know, again, we say it every week, but we still have it. So that's the positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tonight, little rundown of what the agenda looks like this evening. We will, of course, review our picks from last week and go over those game recaps. Pick for Week 5, some select game matchups. You, myself, Kenny, and Beelan.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight we have a special guest joining us. We have Gianna D'Urso, who is a field hockey coach at West Essex High School, who will be coming in to talk about their season so far, and of course the West Essex dynasty.
Sounds good. Let's get rolling. So what do we got? Want to recap a little week 4?
Sure, let's start off with that. So our first game, well, just again, a little reminder, some of the games after we air get switched for, opponents get switched, some get canceled, so last minute. So as we go through, we did have 6 games that were unable to be played as we had seen them listed. So the opponents might have changed, but we didn't. We just threw them out.
Okay, we got a couple comments. Our guy Kenny from Maryland saying greetings from Maryland. Thank you, Kenny.
Hi, Kenny.
And of course, Mr. Beelan with the best line ever. Best duo in the game. Let's go.
Love it.
He's ready to go.
Hello, Mr. Beelan. All right, our first matchup from Week 4 was Lodi at Garfield.
Great game. I actually streamed it live, so I want to thank Lodi Live was the feed on Facebook. It was called Lodi Live,
nice.
And they did a great job. I watched the game on Saturday. It was on the iPad because we had the 4 TVs rolling, but it was on the iPad. It was on the MacBook.
It was the 5th screen in the
listen,
sports room.
great game. Garfield's defense is just fantastic. Coach Riggs 6-0. Gonna be honest, a little worried about the offense though now because it's now the second week in a row where, they're not scoring a lot of points. Going forward, that's going to hurt. But Lodi played a great game. I mean, it was 0-0 up, I would say, with like 5 minutes or 6 minutes left. Garfield did score. They did get the offense rolling. But Coach Riggs and that defense, man. Coach Santa, Coach, congratulations. Another win. But the defense they're awesome.
Yeah, looking good. Our next matchup was that we had predicted was on winless Lyndhurst and winless Manchester. So one of those teams was going to get their first win, and it was Lyndhurst victorious 33-26.
By the way, Coach Mr. Rob Neely saying shout out to Coach Peter Santa Croce.
Nice.
Thank you for joining, Neely. Yep. And Beelan's also saying needs that running game like last year. But let's get to the Lyndhurst game. Lyndhurst, again, Coach Twirl, we had him on last week. Listen, it's just a great coaching staff. It's just a matter of time, and that's going to be a big game to pick this week, Garfield, Lyndhurst. But congratulations to our guys. They got the first victory, and hey, let's start a little roll for them.
Absolutely. Then we had selected Waldwick at Rutherford, but that was one of the matchups that did not occur. So we're going to move on to Clifton at Montclair, where Clifton continued to roll undefeated. They were victorious 28-23.
Yes, 28-23. Again, listen, Montclair is a good football program. So, closer game than maybe some people would have picked. But, hey, great win, undefeated. But word came down that their matchup against Woodbridge this week is going to be canceled. So that was going to be a big 3-0 versus 3-0. But congratulations to Clifton, and they keep rolling,
Yeah. Yep. Our next one was Hawthorne at Glen Rock.
Yes, this was one that I know me and Kenny were on this. Hawthorne started off undefeated, but again, 2 great programs. But Glen Rock, again, Glen Rock growing up was always and I say it every week, but from the lower age going up, they were just tremendous program. And hey, big win and first loss for Hawthorne this year.
The next one we had was Saddlebrook at Pompton Lakes.
Yeah, Saddlebrook had a couple close games this year, but Pompton Lake showed the class there, and Pompton took the big win. And again, Pompton's going to be a team going forward in that lower Group 1-2, but they're going to be a force going forward.
And we had a bunch of cancellations next. Elmwood Park at Weehawken didn't happen. Ramapo at Bergenfield didn't happen. Wayne Hills at Northern Highlands didn't happen.
Wayne Hills did play.
I was just going to say, my caveat was going to be that what I commend these teams for right now is that they're having scheduled changes, and they're picking up teams that are also having cancellations and just on the fly playing each other.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on, we had Bergen Catholic at DePaul.
It was actually looking on the tweet. I know I tweeted you early Saturday, and I said, wow, DePaul's up 10-0. Next thing you know, it was 34 unanswered for Bergen. Bergen shows why they're one of the 2 or top 3 teams in the state, which is going to set up a big matchup. I believe it's next week with Bergen and St. Peter's.
Then we had St. Joe's at Bosco, which didn't happen, and we move on to St. Peter's at Paramus, St. Peter's Prep at Paramus Catholic.
Yeah, PC a little down in in the Big 4 or Big 5, whatever you want to call those Catholic schools, and St. Peter's right now #1 team in the state, showing that they are the right now the class, and again setting up that big matchup with Bergen Catholic.
And one of the ones I know that we kind of split on last week was Verona at Weequake. Verona's victorious in overtime.
Yeah, it was another game where Kenny and I were on the Verona team. Again, a great program. And again, two good programs, but Weequake. But again, Verona. Again, I saw Verona beat up on Lyndhurst last year, and great game going forward. Rob Neely saying, how about Pascack Hills closing last Monday through Wednesday, playing Friday night, and then closing again, and giving the little emoji.
I'm just going to take our little technical difficulties upstairs.
Okay. Yeah, Neil. I'd like to get somebody's opinion on that. It's a debate where people have it all. We've been saying it all fall going into the winter. If schools are closed, should they be playing sports? Does the game? Does anybody really know, since they played that Friday night and then closed again? Is that why they closed? I don't know, but it's a great debate. Listen, I'm all for it, and I know Jen was all for it. We had Frank Bafuco from Milburn all for getting the sports in, trying to get them in, and it's interesting because you do hear some stories about that, and I don't know. I don't know if Pascack Hills rushed that decision to try to get that game in, where obviously safety should come first. I mean, there's other schools. Ramapo's been closing a couple games. They're going to be back on the end, hopefully playing on Saturday versus Paramus this week. But, very interesting. Neely's also saying there's so much out there. Westwood played Dumont a few weeks back, and all of a sudden Westbrook closed. It's scary. I feel for the kids. Yeah, it is. Listen, again, safety comes first and foremost. We are trying, though, they're trying to get the season in, as many games as they can. The winter season is going to be a whole different animal. I mean, we'll talk about that later. Beelan saying if they can learn virtually, they can play football or leave it to Madden one-on-one. You know what? I've always said it. We got to create a high school Madden. Neely saying, as an official, I opted out of soccer and will most likely opt out of hoops as an indoor sport.
Well, it's going to be tough going to the indoor sports. And what's tough is these schools going virtual, even these brief hiatus. And then how are you going to do sports, especially indoor sports come the winter if you're, stuck being virtual? It's going to be a conundrum.
Coach Breslin, how are you, Coach Breslin? Saying, yes, we are playing on Saturday versus Paramus. I think they are virtual. We should still be able to play. I agree with Beelan. So.
Yep, it's that. I feel like the indoor sports are going to be the ones that kind of throw the wrench into that a little bit.
Right. It's a whole different. I understand where Neely's coming from. Where if he didn't want to do it as an official on an outside sport, the inside sport, and that's where I guess listen. I hope they get all these games in. I hope they get all these games in. The winter is going to be the question.
Right.
Because you're inside, you're going to be more. And again, we went to, like I said, the one Morris Catholic game, but you see some, like, even I watched the Garfield Lodi game, it wasn't like fans on top of each other, so they are following that.
Yeah, no,
They
definitely
did get the games in, and hopefully it goes there. Coach Breslin saying indoor sports will have no fans. We are going to stream all games. So that's good.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna say this: a lot of towns are streaming the games, which I think is awesome.
Yep. Give everybody a chance to watch.
Give everybody a chance to watch. Yeah. Like I said, what I say to you, I want to watch. Hopefully, I can watch Garfield Lodi. I mean, listen, was the camera a little shaky, but hey, it's better than not having it. So
exactly.
I hope Coach Breslin, let me know if that Ramapo game is streamed on. It's going to be streaming on Saturday.
We have our first guest in the waiting room. Should I let her in? Did we do? I apologize for the quick absence. My apologies on that. Did we do Sparta PV recap?
We didn't. Okay. And you know what? We're going to save that for the pick segment. Because I'm wearing green tonight, and someone's going to be answering to me with the green. Coach Breslin's also saying, check out the Hawthorne game this week. Spider Cam is coming.
Ooh,
so
what's the Spider Cam?
I don't know. We got to see.
Ooh.
We got to see.
Sounds intriguing. But all right, so we're going to save that last Sparta at PV. We got to give the results.
All right, give the results, but I'm not going to say anything until I get to my pick segment.
Of course. So we had, Passaic Valley experienced their first loss at the hands of Sparta this week, 48-27. So we will revisit them in the pick segment at the end, as you said.
Yep.
So, but moving on, we do have our first guest in the waiting room. So I'm going to let her in. And while we are getting her set, just a reminder that this is Coach Gianna D'Urso from West Essex. She is a former West Essex graduate, played 3 sports. I'm going to brag about you a little bit, Gianna. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. We former 3-sport athlete at West Essex, field hockey, basketball, and lacrosse. Played lacrosse at Monmouth University, and now returns to West Essex as part of the coaching staff for field hockey and lacrosse, actually. But tonight we're here to talk about the West Essex field hockey program. So welcome, Gianna. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us.
I'll give you one more tidbit about Gianna. I have to say, I coached Gianna in basketball. It was an absolute pleasure to have her. Actually, Gianna, one of my favorite all-time basketball stories was one of our home games. Remember with the ponytail tug?
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
And she's also one of my, now I'm just going to make myself sound old. She also is one of my, I didn't have her in class directly, but one of my former students. So we can see the timeline.
Oh, you sound old. I'm not going to mention anything. I'm not saying anything about my age.
But again, thanks, Gianna, for coming. And I think you have our first question for Gianna.
I do. Thank you again, Coach, for coming. You were a player at West Essex, winning 4 state titles. Yes, 4 state titles. Can you elaborate on the West Essex field hockey winning tradition?
It is like nothing else. I can honestly say it's such an honor to have played for them and now come back and coach for them. Jill Koss does such an amazing job with it, and I think it stemmed from Linda Alimi before that. We really pride ourselves, to be honest, on tradition, hard work, teamwork, on and off the field, and just really like digging into the times where things aren't always so great, and kind of learning how to overcome them. And I think the biggest thing too is being mentally tough and physically stronger than your opponents. So it really prepares you for life, college sports. There was nothing like West Essex field hockey. And I really think it's like the core values that really haven't changed. I mean, the times have changed, the styles have changed, but the core values behind it have not. Just hard work, teamwork, dedication, and just being mentally, physically, tougher and stronger than everyone else.
One more question to piggyback off of that. And going off script already. But, and again, I don't want to use the word, I know we're talking high school sports. So when I say the word pressure, I know it's not like a professional or college, but as a player and then as a coach, would you say there was one more than the other where you feel a little more pressure?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ali Casera and I were freshmen on varsity our freshman year, and that was the first year we had won it, I think, in a few years. And I remember winning it my freshman year and being like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And then for us, it was just an expectation. Like there was nothing less than a state championship. And we put so much pressure on ourselves, and not in a bad way, but it was like expected. And, by our junior year, we were going for 3 state championships. And that was, I think, the furthest or the longest reigning at the time. And I remember our senior year being like, wow, like we're about to do something that no other team has done. And I remember being seniors and being like, we added that pressure on ourselves, I think a little bit more than anybody else. But there definitely was a pressure. But again, I think Jill always prepared us, and Diane Simmons at the time was our assistant coach. And, I really think they prepared us like, you have to be mentally strong in order to excel in this program. And I really think it prepared us for life, and the things that were going to come after that. But there was definitely, and I think too, just in general, West Essex field hockey holds themselves to a higher caliber of, play, that it's almost more than high school sports. It's, it's way more than that. But I think we all know what we're getting into, when we choose to put that uniform on and, represent ourselves, but also represent the history of West Essex field hockey. We don't want to, we always used to say, oh my gosh, what are the alumni thinking? Like, right. You're like, oh my gosh, we don't want to be the team to let them down. Like, so you add those pressures, but I guess in a good way, and kind of overcome them for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very well said. So, I believe that there are 19 state championships, I believe it is, that they have earned state titles dating back to like 1971. You guys now, the 2020 team, if I'm not mistaken, are back-to-back Group 2 champions. There's a recent 2016 Tournament of Champions victory, which is something new that didn't exist when I was playing. So you guys get off to a 3-0 start this year. Like you said, we're defending Group 2 champions. You're outscoring your opponents 24-1. And then you guys get hit with that 2-week shutdown. So I guess my question is, how did you guys stay motivated and in touch during that time period? And how was it when you finally got back into action this week?
I have to honestly say kudos to our team, because they knew. So we had kind of talked about like, if and when, this happens, because obviously, you have to kind of assume that this
be prepared.
Potentially be prepared is the word. Be prepared for it. So I have to say they didn't skip a beat. We heard about it Friday morning. We were shut down. We were on a team Zoom right after school, and we tried to keep a consistent schedule throughout. So the girls, every morning, each coach had kind of a job on what we were doing. So I was posting a half-hour workout, and the Jill Koss was posting on our Google Classroom. So we stay connected through Google Classroom, all stick work and breaking down film. So we were kind of integrated that way. And then Noelle Gomez Tundo, recently married, is our goalie coach. So she was posting stuff like footwork and things for the goalies to do. So they were never left alone or left to wonder what they were supposed to do. And then we would Zoom every day, just as if we were just our regular practice time, go over film, go over highlight, and just touch in and see, how are the girls doing? Because this is so much more than just field hockey. It's such a mentally, I think we're in a different state. So it's kind of checking in to make sure the girls are okay and, that they're working out. And I think one thing that we shared with them is this 2 weeks, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. So like, what are you doing on your own when no one's watching? And those are, and I told the girls, and Jill and Noelle, we kind of reiterated it as a coaching staff. That's what separates good teams from great teams. What are you doing when we're not there? How are you getting better? So the girls were always doing stick work. They were always doing their runs. And I have to share, they're so funny. They're so competitive, which is like so nice. I love it. They, I guess, had a group chat going where they were sharing their runs. So like the map my run. So they literally knew what times people were getting, and like, you didn't want to post in there. Like, workout, like,
that's good.
And so they honestly, like, we kind of gave them the tools, but it was on them, and they were outstanding, not missing a beat in those 2 weeks. And then we came to practice Sunday night, and they were just full of energy, full of life, and just excited to be back together because they were doing everything individually. And then we played on Monday, and I swear it was like letting like caged animals out. They were just like, we're here, like, and we're ready. So it was really, we were really impressed with them, because they could have easily kind of taken the slower
easy way
route.
out. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You made me just think of like, what was it, Sandy, when we had Sandy and we were shut down for a few days, like in the area. I was in Montville at the time, and I think I didn't see my kids for like a week. Like there was no school. This is before Zoom, right? So there was and I remember that first day back. You just totally reminded me of it. I remember one of my captains getting out of her car and literally and we were practicing, just running to the field. Like she was just so excited to see her teammates and be back. So I can only imagine, like caged animals, the perfect analogy.
It really was. They were literally like, wow. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is great. I mean, better that way than the opposite.
Oh, that's nice to
Coach,
hear.
real quick, I just want to interrupt you. A couple of comments. This is from Kenny Kirkpatrick, co-host from the K&K Sports Show. He's from Maryland. He's saying, Gianna, thank you for all you do and best of luck this season from Maryland. And I don't want to know if I want to say this name incorrectly, so help me. There's a Dominica Fernicola saying, go West Essex field hockey.
That's actually Natalie Carnival's grandma.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Nicole's mom.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Very nice.
All right, so I'm back on my question. You're defending, like Jen did say, defending back-to-back Group 2 state champions. With this year's uncertainty of quote-unquote, like state playoff or anything like that, what would you want to see? Like how would you... Or again, like what would you like the state to do, or what would be fair? Or, what do you girls want to do? Because obviously, I mean, you guys are a team that you're going to be there. So, best case scenario.
We always say, as an athlete, just as a competitive person myself, it kills me that the furthest that we can go this year is a sectional state championship. I personally think if we're able to be out there, this is just my, being me and wanting to go as far as I can. It kills me for the group that could go for 3 full state championships. Like I would want them to go all the way, because at this point, if you can play, why can't you just play another, week longer or something like that? I understand like the health reasons behind it, but the athlete in me is like, well, if we're out here, we're playing, why are we going to stop, if we don't have to, kind of thing. But our goal for the girls is, well, if the state sectional finals the furthest that we can go, then we
win
need
that.
to, then that's where we're going. And unfortunately you have to, I don't know what you would call it then, 3 state because you can only go so far, but we have to go as far as we can and hopefully get there and earn the right to be there, kind of thing.
My question for you, Gianna, is to talk a little bit about rivalries. When I was in high school, our big rival was Shawnee, right? They were number 1 in the state, and then, my senior year we beat them, and then I feel like it kind of shifted a little bit since you guys, when you were in high school, used to play against Oak Knoll, again, you and Oak Knoll, 2 top teams in the state, in the country, we could even argue, and now they're in your conference, right? So you guys have that. Would you say, dating back to like when you were in high school and kind of following through to now, what would you say like the biggest rivalry is for West Essex field hockey right now?
I definitely think it's Oak Knoll and Eastern. I mean, Eastern, Shawnee, Oak Knoll, those are always the top schools. Definitely Oak Knoll, because I think there's an inner rivalry of like the North Jersey, like that's the team. And a lot of them play club together. They play club field hockey and lacrosse together. So, it's like that frenemy kind of. You want the bragging rights for who's showing up to the club or club team or whatever, like something like that. But I definitely think it's Oak Knoll, and that was even when I played. That was definitely one of our biggest rivals. But when I played, we used to play them as an independent game, and it was always right before we always played them right before the state tournament started. It was a great preparation going in, kind of like to give you a wake-up call of what to expect and the level that you needed to play and rise up to, and kind of challenge yourselves and see where the team's gone and grown into. So definitely Oak Knoll.
Are we ready for a little rapid
fire?
Rapid
fire, absolutely.
Right. Our next segment, Gianna, we called it Rapid Fire. We're just going to do a couple quick, they're meant to be a little quick, but our first 2 questions are not really too quick, so feel free to expand.
Yeah. All right, I'll start it off. Best West Essex field hockey memory, either as a player or a coach, you're only allowed 1. I mean, with all your titles, you can probably write a book, but I mean, only one. Only
as much
one.
as I loved our win coaching, it was definitely winning that fourth state championship as a senior, without a doubt. It was the greatest feeling ever.
Very nice.
Nothing like it.
You mentioned before that West Essex field hockey is full of traditions, right? So my question for you is, what is your favorite West Essex field hockey tradition?
Snoopy's.
Oh, yay! That's mine! Nobody would understand that.
No.
Not telling you either.
All right.
The peanut gallery.
Oh,
Question three, and I'm actually going to change this question right on the fly.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, you cannot answer Fortes because we've gone to Fortes. The best pizza place in the West Essex area.
Angeloni's.
Oh, we've been there too. I'm a fan of Angeloni's. I like the thin.
Oh, or Michelangelo's though.
Actually,
different.
I don't want to. I don't know who's listening. So what's the second one you said? Michelangelo's. That's what we're gonna go with.
We ask and then we try them.
Yeah, we try them.
Because I just realized, like, thin crust, but you got to get the square well done. It's got to be well done.
All right, that's good.
Wait, Beelan's asking a question. Has West Essex won another title after she left? Yes. I mean, since you've been in high school, how many titles have you guys won?
Since I've been in high school.
Since she was in high school?
Yeah, well, add your 4 and
Gianna,
then going forward.
What year did you graduate, Gianna?
I graduated in 2009.
Right, so
and then in 2010.
7, 6, 5, right? So there's 4 there.
That's 4.
Then I think I took my notes diligently before.
The past 2 years, 2016,
2006.
2013.
Yeah, 19, 18, 16. That's as, I think... They've definitely won another 3
since she's graduated.
At least, yeah.
So it's at least 7.
I've been coaching, so 3.
So there's your answer, 7.
Yeah.
At least. I don't know if I missed one in between when Gianna
at least
left
7.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your last rapid?
Well, my last rapid fire. All right. This is you have to choose between Under Armour, Adidas, and Nike. What are you going with?
Nike.
There you go.
Nice and easy peasy. All right, Gianna. Oh, I have a quick question before you go. I know you guys during that 2-week hiatus on your schedule had been the Oak Knoll matchup. So is that getting rescheduled, or you guys don't know? Yeah,
it is. We're definitely rescheduling it. I know it's figuring out when, because we can only play 3 games in a week, so trying to maneuver around the schedule, but that's a game that we definitely are going to be playing. Knock on wood that this is all, still all safe and everything like that. So.
Yeah. Just a little comment from your brother on Facebook saying with the question about how many titles, he said too many to count. So that's just very accurate.
And then Rob Neely's chiming in saying, so she has more rings than Coach Belichick from the Patriots, huh?
Wait, we didn't even get to her lacrosse ring. So
yeah.
So she definitely does. There's a few lacrosse ones in there too, correct?
There you go.
Hardly competitive. We had a hardly competitive.
Oh, Gianna, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule for coming in. It was a pleasure to see you, even though virtually, and hopefully we can maybe follow up with you throughout the season.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Coach. Much. Good luck and get another ring. I mean, that's
Thank you. And I just have to say, Jen has not changed since I had her or was my teacher in like 3rd grade. So whatever you're taking, that
keep the age limit going. Keep the age.
Thank you, Gianna. You made me feel less old.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Coach.
Bye, Gianna. Good night.
Bye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thank you again for Coach for coming on.
Nice. Yep. Again, you know what? She is she's a rarity. She's one of those people that when you coached her, you kind of always knew she had that coaching gene, I would say. So it's really nice to see her come back, give back to the program, and she's a great role model for those kids.
And like we said, Coach Breslin was saying, great job. And like you're saying, like like I asked the question about the pressure and stuff like that, but she's honest, like that. It's a different standard where you don't want to let the other people down, like we've heard that. I mean, again, I've coached at Ramapo and you coached at St. Mary's, and even Lyndhurst like has that where it's like you're playing not just for yourself and your team, but you're also playing for the people before you, and you have that kind of obligation.
I have to say, having coached her, and she mentioned one of her teammates, Ali Casera, who was another 3-sport athlete, field hockey, basketball, and lacrosse, and they were just that competitiveness, but not to the, like, when it was game time, game on, like, and they demanded of themselves, they demanded of their teammates, and it's just, you're just, when you have athletes like that, you're just it was really fun to coach those guys.
You feel like getting in a little debate?
We want to do our debate.
Let's
right
get a
now?
little debate.
Okay.
I like the little debate. I mean, this is like our life, but we'll do it on air. We got Coach Breslin, we got Kenny, we got Beelan, we got Neely. So
chime in.
Yeah, I want to get them to chime in, because and you know what? It's a great segue of, the winning at West Essex. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because there's probably a lot of those games where they're just better than the other team. You it. Games can get ugly. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Games can get ugly. And, we have football coaches here, baseball coaches. And so, again, everybody chime in, because it is like where, listen, it's a debatable thing. So it is part one is other teams' feelings. Like, should you worry about other teams' feelings? Or 2, do you have to get your work in? And, we can talk about, I think a couple different sports are different, because, again, I think that when you talk on basketball, I mean, you see some teams, if they're going to have a full court press on, and the score is, 42-3, that's a different animal, and you just keep pressing. The team can't get the ball past half court, which is possible. I mean, you've coached, you've played, you've probably seen it on both sides.
Right,
right?
Definitely.
I mean, I've seen it, and Beelan's already saying no feelings, get that work. But on another level, and you take football, for instance, all right, and Coach Breslin would be great on this, I'm going to talk strictly as offense. You have to get specific work in, so when you look at a score, and now you say, okay, the score was 42-6, or it's 42-6 at half. What do you do? See, here's the thing. That 42 points can be very deceiving, because you're on offense. You just threw, we have 2 pick sixes, or you fumble and our defense picks it up. Now, 21 points, the offense hasn't even touched the ball.
Well, that's a specific scenario.
A specific scenario. So does that mean now, okay, call off the dog? See, I think though, and again, there's programs you can look where, scoring 70 points and that's a different animal, but a 56-6 score doesn't mean you're running up the score. Like, as an offense, you have to get some stuff in. You just can't expect to say, I'm going to play one half, I'm not going to throw the ball, and now in a big game 3 weeks down the road, your kids have never played more than a half, and you're telling your court, okay, we have to, the passing game has to work today. How do you practice that?
We have a fundamental difference of opinion on this one. I am a believer in the fact that I want to teach my players to be gracious in winning and in losing, number one. And I am not saying that I'm not going to get my work in, but I think there's a way to do that and not humiliate another team. And that is a valuable lesson for my players to learn when they're on the winning end of things. I also think that if you're saying you need to get your work in against a team that you're beating 42-0, what value?
No. Not saying 42-0. I'm saying you got to get your work in that week. Well, you do practice all week.
Can I finish?
You
please?
can finish.
Can you not cut me off?
I'm not going to go ahead.
So what value, even if it's a team that you're going to be beating 42-0, what value is that work going to be? It's not going to be as valuable for you. It's not. You're probably going to get better work against your own squad.
But I'm saying is, can you set it, instead of saying, okay, I have to, I feel obligated, why? And again, high school is not college, and pro is a different level, but even in college, why can't you just go and say, listen, I know we're going to beat this team bad, but we're going to play 3 quarters. We're playing 3 quarters. I'm not even gonna look at that scoreboard.
I don't think that's right. I don't. Why do you have to put a 3-quarter limit on it? It's not. If a game is going in a certain way, I don't think going in you can say 3 quarters. I think you have to see how the game is going. You have to see what the score is. I don't think you want to humiliate another team. I don't. I'm sorry. And
okay, but Coach Breslin's saying it's no fun to play those games. Sometimes bad teams try to get back in the game by throwing, which increases the scores. Yes, but you still can't beat up teams. Get the other kids in the second half. Yeah. Play the first series to come out in the second half and get them out to protect them from injury.
You know what? I also like what Coach Breslin is saying there. Now, again,
well, I'm nearly saying your intelligent wife is correct.
I also think that it varies sport to sport slightly. For example, I was a lacrosse coach, and there's a 10-goal rule. You get it to 10. That's like an acceptable difference in, the score. You get it to 10, it can go running clock, right? So I know that I can start to get my other kids into other areas, like even before it gets to 10, try to get those kids in. If like Coach Breslin is saying, teams close the gap, then you can widen it again. You have the ability to widen it. But yeah, I think that sports are, specific to how you can handle it as well.
Okay, this is a good topic because we got a couple of topics coming in. All right. Nearly saying, as an official, let's take hoops. You're up 20 and dominating. Pull back. All right. Nearly saying in baseball.
Which speaks to your full court press. I mean, we've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it when I've scouted. I've seen it when I've played, coached. Like you're up 20-0 in the first quarter. You come out in the second quarter, you're still in your full court press.
Right.
Yeah.
Nearly saying in baseball, get to the mercy rules. That's a different sport because that's not time. That thing can end quick. Yeah. You can get to the 5 or 5.5 or 4.5. Mm-hmm. Get that, end
Again,
that.
Field hockey and lacrosse have a running clock. You can get it to a certain goal differential, and then the clock runs to speed up the game.
Now,
also, I'm going to say this, in certain, which I don't think you can do in football. I mean, there's certain things you can do in football with the clock, like we were talking about this earlier this week. Run the ball so the clock keeps going.
But also, and I think Coach Breslin said this too, though, but it's also on your opponent. If you're down 42-6, don't throw the ball 3 times and stop the clock. Just run the ball and get the hell out of there. When you throw it incomplete, what are you supposed to do on offense now?
Yeah.
I mean,
I also, in lacrosse, is a game of possession. You can pull it out. I mean, we used to practice. We used to have a delay if we were like up by 1 goal where we wanted to delay and stall on the clock. But we'd use that same type of system if we were up by a lot and we didn't want to go to goal. So we would. And you know what though? Similar again to what Coach Breslin said, it's not fun. It's also not fun for the other team. It's fun for no one when you get. But you know what? I would rather do that than pump in another 17 goals.
Right. All right. Nearly, Beelan's asking a great question, saying he's asking Nearly, but we'll ask. We could take as the panel. What if the younger kids run it up? Again, how can I tell you? You're now a sophomore. You're a sophomore running back in a good football program, right? We're gonna go. We'll go Ramapo. You're a sophomore. The stands are packed. I mean, it's not 2020, but stands are packed. You're in a varsity game. Are you not going to try your best and try to score?
That is, I'm not going to lie, that is a little bit of a conundrum because I used to feel bad and I try to do something a little bit differently for my kids who would go in after we were already in our stall tactic, let's say, and my younger kids would get in and they're biting at the chomp to want to score a goal, and here I am, we're in Mustang slowing things down. And again, different sports are different, so I'm speaking specifically to lacrosse on this, but, there would be a time where I would go green and we would be able to go again,
Right.
So I would try to give them that opportunity because what he says is totally right. That stinks for those younger kids finally get in and it's like you're holding them back almost. So yeah.
Right. And then,
I do think there's ways to make it work. I really do. It's not easy.
And here's one more thing, and again, I love these. We're going to do a debate every week. This is great. But and Nearly saying, again, amen, Kurt, this drives me crazy when a team is down 20 in hoops and then they start pressing when the leading team puts their bench in. Mm-hmm. That's just like, and listen, I'm not going to mention names, but at St. Mary's, some teams used to do this. Yeah. You're up big, you take your starters out. Their defense, now their defense starts blitzing the young kids, and you listen, the second and third, some of those second string kids, you can't block 4 plays. Now you're having, seniors coming in, sending like all these exotic blitzes and stuff. See, that's wrong.
No, I agree.
Just like Nearly saying,
I'm trying to do the right thing.
Right, you're trying to do the right thing. And that's where, a lot of teams do that.
Yep.
That's...
I'm going to give you the converse on that. Not a converse necessarily, but, there would be teams, and we've talked about this too. Let's say, teams who haven't been as good and you've beat up on them a little bit. Now they the tables are turned and they want to they want to get back at you.
And Coach Breslin saying the issue that I have is that when the second team comes in, the bad teams start blitzing on them and keep some of the first teams in.
That's bad.
Been
on
part
that
of
coach.
some bad
Absolutely.
teams as well. I would let the second team run the offense the correct way, but the bad team, right? It's
I used to say to my players, especially when
Nearly saying that's when the whistles come out.
yeah, I used to say to my players when we would play a team, especially when we had cross, like if they were very good in field hockey and we were better than them in lacrosse, and they maybe ran it up on us, and my kids were wanting to like return that favor, and I wouldn't do it. We're not going to do what they do. We're not going to do that. I'm sorry. We're going to be gracious in our winning. We're the better team. We got out of here. We know we're the better team. Running it up isn't going to do anything.
Now, Beelan's making this point, and I believe he's talking baseball. He's saying in high school, we had a 16-0 lead in the second inning. We took the starters out. The score was 16-10 at the fourth, and now your starters can't come back in.
Again, that's a sport-specific issue. Now, my question is, you're up 16-0. I mean, is there, like, how many innings? Don't you only have to go 4 innings and once you get to the mercy rule in baseball?
4.5.
Yeah, so, I mean...
If you're to visit, I mean, you're right, you got to get up 5 times.
Yeah, so I know, that's tough. That's tough. I know,
I mean, in football, you're probably not going to see that. In basketball, like high school, teams are so dominant.
Like a sport-specific issue.
But this specific, right.
Yeah.
And again, like, what do you tell the kid? Just go up and... See, I think, honestly, it's worse if you're going to go and embarrass and just tell the team, all right, go up and bunt and try to get out, like, in baseball. Like, what are you going to tell them? Just don't swing or swing at anything, like, make it a mockery. I think that's worse. You got to get up. You got to play. I mean, listen, you don't steal. You don't...
Right,
suicide,
things,
you don't suicide bunt. You don't do stuff like that.
Every kid knocking it out of the park. I mean, like, in that game, I don't know. That, like you're saying, are you doing other things though that you?
But it's hard.
It is. It's
hard.
Not easy. It's not easy. And you know what? If you're
Nearly saying the Yumps will take care of that.
Yeah. If you're going into this is another thing I used to take issue with other coaches was that I'm going into a game that I know is going to be a lopsided victory. Why do I have to wait until it's 10-0 to start to get my players in? Like if I have those younger, like I can start to cycle kids in, like, and I know that other especially if it's that lopsided. I mean, there's teams that would struggle to get possession, struggle to, even get a shot on goal. I can do other things, to kind of manage the game a little bit better.
Yeah. Again, great debate. I mean, it's, and you know what? It's not, it's a problem because it just, like Coach Breslin saying,
Rob
listen.
Neely just said it's called game management. I agree.
Is, but,
you manage the game, exactly.
Teams are going to do it. Teams, like, and again, like we're talking about the teams that are down, don't throw the ball down 42-0. Just get out of there,
Right.
And then when the other team takes their starters out, don't try to be heroes and blitz and press and try to make it closer when it shouldn't.
I do like another thing that Coach Breslin said about also worrying about injury. I feel like I've coached in games where it's lopsided and you fear that the other, especially in a game, again, like lacrosse where they're wielding sticks and you're worried that a check is going to slash a kid's head, finger, arm, so.
Now, Beelan's saying Coach Riggs in baseball gave me the green light anytime. I'd still win by 8-9 runs. I don't care. I'm playing hard all the time. Rob Neely saying it all comes down to coaches. The coaches that know what they're doing versus coaches coaching for a stipend.
Well, you know what? 100%.
100%. That's a great point.
I'm going to call Beelan out on that a little bit because as a coach, a varsity coach who goes to all conference, all county, and all state selection meetings at the end of the season, you know what? What good is it that you stole 3 bases in a game where you won 10-0? That's padding your stats. So, we would look at scorers and say, you know what, great, she scored this. What did she do against the top team? Oh, she didn't score. Oh, where did she get her 5-goal game? In a game you won 12-0. So you there's just a lot of things to take into consideration with that. You play hard. Who doesn't play hard? I'm as competitive as they come. I can play hard, but I can also play fair and I can play graciously.
Right. And last thing, Beelan's saying, if you're up so high in football, punt the ball on first down. See, I think that's the embarrassing part where you start doing stuff like that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, me personally, like, to me, that would be like if I'm that coach and I'm getting beat, like a team's doing that, that's more embarrassing to me than a team. Listen, as long as they're not running flea flickers and double reverses and stuff like that, if they're just beating you on normal football,
right? Not this turning it into a clown show,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good debate. Good topic.
Very great debate. All right, Jenny Hoops, you're up for your week in field hockey.
Week in field hockey review. So last week, I kind of picked my quote-unquote sleeper team in Pequannock.
Okay.
I guess I should call them like a resurging team because they're not really a sleeper, but they had a huge, I'm going to call it a monumental win this week against Madison, which is a historically strong program. They were ranked 16th in the state at the time. I'd say they're probably a little bit down this year, as our guest Sandy Seegers said last week, but still they won convincingly 4-0. They remain undefeated at 7-0, and I definitely feel that they are a team to watch not only in Morris County but in postseason play. Another strong Morris County team is Morristown Beard, who didn't start their season interestingly enough until October 15th, but they did get off to a 3-0 start, and they were a Morris County finalist last year. Mm-hmm. We just had Gianna on, representing West Essex and Essex County, and as she said, that Oak Knoll game, as soon as that's rescheduled,
no county tournament, correct?
I believe not. We should have confirmed with her, but I don't think there are county tournaments.
Okay.
I think that across the board, if I'm not mistaken. In Bergen County, Northern Highlands remains undefeated and remains strong, and the other team that I have an eye on in Bergen County is Ramsey, who did suffer their first defeat this week, or I guess last week, actually, where an out-of-conference play at Johnson, who's a Union County team. But Northern Highlands and Ramsey will face off on October 31st, so that'll be a good game to watch. And my Passaic County team to watch is Wayne Valley, who also remains undefeated at 6-0. They did not play that Passaic County final rematch that was scheduled for October 21st, but look for it on November 9th.
Okay.
So that's a little field hockey in review.
Awesome.
All right, our last segment.
We're ready to roll. Here we go.
For the week.
Our picks for the week and our updated standings. Last week, yours truly and Mr. Kirkpatrick went 8-1. Jenny Hoops and Mr. Beelan both went 6-3.
I think so.
I believe you guys. So the updated standings, Mr. Kirkpatrick from Maryland. We're going to hear this ridiculous comment. How's he leading? But he is. He's 16-5.
He's Jersey born and bred.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff.
1 game lead over you, 2 game lead over me. And listen, I mean, Beelan's even tanking in the high school football picks. Beelan's tanking in everything. And there it is the Maryland guy on top. Yes, it is. Yes, he is. The Maryland guy is on top. But let's get to the picks.
All right.
By the way, it's a running comment now, which is awesome. This debate has everyone going at each other, so that's great.
The debate it was a good topic.
It's a
very
great
good
topic.
Can always be revisited.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's definitely more to be said.
All right, so let's get to our picks.
All right. So our first game for Week 5 competition that we will be focusing on is 0-4 Paramus Catholic at 2-2 St. Joe's.
Okay. How do you want to go off?
I'll go me, Kenny, Beelan. How's that?
Okay.
I got all different things to consult here. So
okay.
Give me a second. So I am picking St. Joe's.
Neely's asking, is Johnny tanking for Trevor? He's tanking in everything, Neely. Everything. All right, so you're going St. Joe's.
I'm going St. Joe's. Kenny is going St. Joe's by a score of 28-12.
Okay.
And Mr. Beelan is going St. Joe's, by a score of 28-10.
28-10.
And you?
Okay, I am going to go St. Joe's, and I'm not going to be so gracious this week, but listen, St. Joe's only 2 losses have been to number 1 and number 2, St. Peter's and Bergen Catholic. I think they take it out on PC. I'm going to go 47-7 St. Joe's over PC.
All right, just to give the audience a heads up, we had selected DePaul at St. Peter's
yes,
Prep, but that one's
which
not
would have been
a
good one.
I know, and Woodridge at Clifton, which also would have been
Woodbridge at Clifton. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And now, so moving on to 4-0 Wayne Hills at 0-4 Hackensack. And if I'm not mistaken,
don't say that too loud. Coach Bresley's listening to Wayne
But
Hills.
if I'm not mistaken, that's one of the games where they picked up opponents because they had a switch, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, which again, I'm not 100% sure about that. But,
okay.
But anyway, I'm picking Wayne Hills.
Okay.
Kenny is picking Wayne Hills 34-12. He says Hills keeps rolling is his comment.
Okay.
And Beelan has Wayne Hills 38-14.
All right. I am also going to go to I'm also going to take Wayne Hills. Hackensack has 4 tough losses to all good teams. I believe they play tough. I want to say one of their coaches just got sick, is not able to coach. So sad situation there. But I think the kids are going to rally. I think those kids will play tough. But I think Wayne Hills 14-7 as Wayne Hills gets ready for the showdown next week against Ramapo. So I'm going to go 14-7. And but again, I think in a close one.
All right, which brings us to a Ramapo game. So we have 2-2 Paramus at 1-1 Ramapo. I'm going with Ramapo. They are, correct me if I'm wrong, they lost, ended their streak. We have them predicted as raring to go. Then that game gets postponed. So now they've been on a little hiatus. I think that Gianna's description of a caged animal might be an apt description of Ramapo for
Coach Breslin saying, please pick Wayne Hills. We want them next week. So, yep.
All right, so I'm going with Ramapo.
All right.
All right, Mr. Kirkpatrick is going with Ramapo. He said slow start, big halftime adjustment. He picks them 23-13.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Say that again.
He said that they'll have a slow start.
Who said that?
Mr. Kirkpatrick.
All right, so he better hold that because I'm not saying that to Coach Gibbs. Slow start. That's Kirkpatrick.
Hey, those are his comments.
Listen, he had the Dark Punisher coming after him. He might have, Coach Gibbs coming after him.
And then we have Mr. Beelan picking Ramapo as well by a score of 21-14.
All right, I'm going to make this. I've said this for the past 2 weeks since the Ramapo game got canceled. It's just going to be, and again, no disrespect to Paramus, but wrong place, wrong time. I just think, like you're saying, Ramapo, they haven't played. They still got that bitter taste of that last-second defeat to Riverdale, and they got the big one next week. I'm going 41-13 Ramapo. I think the offense comes out.
It's going to be a big win.
And I think it's going to be a big win, and it sets up the monster showdown next week against Wayne Hills.
It'll be like our game of the week.
Nearly saying they'll be celebrating at Market Basket by halftime.
I love Market Basket.
Yeah. Might have to take a ride up there this weekend, Hoops.
All right, our next one is 3-0 Beckton at 2-1 Hasbrook Heights. This was a tough one.
Very tough one.
Yeah, and what's funny is I remember you referring to Beckton, once, and I was like, I didn't even know what that was. But then we drove by the school, and I'm pretty sure I watched a basketball game there.
Yes, you did.
So I'm going with Hasbrook Heights, though. This was a tough one for me to select. I think it's going to be a close game.
Coach Breslin saying, let's hope so. We're meaning celebrating, so without practicing. All right, you're going, I'm sorry, Hoops.
I went with Hasbrook Heights.
You went with Hasbrook Heights.
Be a close one.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Coach Breslin saying, Jenny, I went to high school there.
Oh, get out.
Yes.
Very nice. I didn't know that it was a school. The Bergen County. There's so many Bergen County schools. I'm an Essex County girl.
There it is.
All right. So Hasbrook Heights. Kenny has Hasbrook Heights. He has Beckton 16-14.
Okay.
And Mr. Beelan has Beckton 26-21.
All right. Couple comments coming in. Kenny saying Ramapo is in my blood, Kurt. I would never pick against them. Coach Breslin's going to kick the garbage can and fire the kids at half. All right. Kenny's got a camera here because he's seeing my picks. I'm telling you this. My game of the week. Heights only lost to, obviously, a great Park Ridge. Beckton, undefeated, unscored upon so far. No points against them. Beckton's going to give up points this week because Heights will score, but Beckton's getting that win. I'm going 28-27 in game of the week. Wow. It's so hard to beat. Listen, very hard to beat Heights on a Friday night at Heights, but I think Beckton does it. And I think Beckton goes 28-27. Beckton goes to 4-0 with a huge, huge victory this week.
Okay. Our next one is 3-1 Passaic Valley at 2-1 Jefferson. I'm going to say this. I know you're going to talk a little bit more, so I won't say too much. Passaic Valley suffered their first loss last week at the hands of a good Sparta team. Not that Jefferson is some slouch, but I think they're going to get back on track. I have full faith in them. I think they're the type of kids who learn from adversity. So I'm going to pick PV I got
Okay.
PV. We've got Kenny has. I'm losing my thing here. Let's see. Where's Kenny's? Kenny has. PV scores a touchdown on the last drive is his prediction, and he has them winning 20-19. Mr. Beelan's got PV over Jefferson by a score of 30-18.
So Beelan's going with PV too.
Yep.
PV, I'm looking you guys in the camera. I'm wearing green. Well, I'm wearing green for Ramapo, but I'm also wearing green for these guys because all year I kept saying they're going to run the table. They're going to run the table. But you know what? Listen, losing the Spartans, no. I mean, Sparta's a great program. And actually, both of these teams, Sparta beat Jefferson, Sparta beat PV. So that's their only loss on both teams. I think they bounce back defensively. I'm going to go PV 20, Jefferson 13. So it's a clean sweep for PV. Don't disappoint me, PV.
All right, our next game is 3-1 Garfield at 1-2 Lyndhurst. Okay, I'm kind of going with Garfield on the upswing and Lyndhurst being on a little bit, I don't want to say the downswing, but I know, again, they're lost a lot to graduation. I'm going to give the edge to Garfield in this one. We have...
so you're going Garfield.
I'm going Garfield.
Okay.
Kenny is saying it's close until the fourth quarter, but ultimately Garfield pulls it out 20-7. And Beelan is predicting a big Garfield win and another Garfield shutout, if I'm reading the handwriting correctly here, 28-0.
Okay.
So Garfield across the board so far.
This is a tough game for me to pick. Coach Tuero, Coach Santa Croce, both of our guys.
Yep, I know.
And I'm going to be honest. It's Garfield has 3 shutouts, gave up 14 points in 3 games. But the problem is their offense. They have not scored. Listen, 14 points there, 13 points versus Waldwick, 6 points versus Lodi. And this is going to be a great defensive matchups by defensive coaches. 2 of the best in the biz. I mean, we got Coach Breslin on there. So anytime we say best in the biz, we're talking with Coach Breslin. But in this game, Coach Castagnetti, Coach Riggs, I think Lyndhurst, this is going to be my prediction. This is very hard for me to pick. Lyndhurst is going to have the lead, and I think Garfield's going to score late. But Garfield, be careful. I'm telling you now. Yeah. Be careful. Lyndhurst got the win, got the confidence. I'm going to go Garfield 13, Lyndhurst 7 in a defensive matchup between 2 great defensive coaches. But I am going to pick Garfield late with a touchdown to win 13-7.
Okay, we were going to predict Ridgefield at Elmwood Park, but that's one that is postponed as well. I don't know if they're picking up different opponents, but that we don't have, so we'll scratch that. This one's tough for me. We've got 2-2 Montville at 1-0 West Essex, and the reason it's tough for me is we have my alma mater, West Essex, with a great coach in Chris Benaquista, and Montville, where I coached for 15 years. And again, with another great coach in Rick DeBonta, who's
so you can't lose, basically, is what you're saying this week.
There. No, you know what? You can look at it as you can't lose or you can't win. Right. I don't know. So I am going to go with West Essex. I don't know. I just feel, just looking at the opponents and just knowing what I know about the West Essex athletes, I'm going to go with West Essex on this one. Okay, we have Kenny is picking, all right. He's predicting Hoops stays happy as his comment, but I don't think he realizes my Montville ties because he has West Essex winning 13-12, which again, I will be happy. I hope it's a good game like Kenny predicts there. And then we've got Beelan also picking West Essex 24-20. And you, KV?
I am going to go, again, 28 days off. All right, 28 days off since West Essex has played, so
it's a long time.
It's a long time.
That's why I didn't pick them last time. Yeah.
I think maybe a little more advanced than Montville in this one. I'm going to take West Essex 21-12.
Okay, our next matchup is 4-0 Morris Hills at 4-0 Parsippany Hills. Another good game, another good matchup. I'm going Parsippany Hills. We've got Kenny going Parsippany Hills 34-27, and we've got Beelan picking another close one, but ultimately picking Par Hills.
I can't keep up with you on the board here. Say this again.
Everybody's got Par Hills.
Everybody's got Par Hills.
Yeah,
so
we got Morris Hills at Parsippany Hills.
All right, I got a problem here because I'm putting up the wrong pick. So you're going too fast for me here. You got to give me a little.
I'm gonna say you're going too slow.
I got 19 things going on.
I gave
you sound
3
like
picks.
Kenny.
We got Well, Kenny and I do often.
All right, so
agree
everyone's
when it comes to
taking
this
everyone's taking Par Hills, right?
stuff. Yep, Parsippany Hills.
Well, you know
And
what?
You?
I'm taking Par Hills too.
Okay.
All right, let me just get my my bearings here for a second. All right, so everyone's on the Par Hills bandwagon. 2 great offenses. Par Hills beat Riverdale. Riverdale came back and what was the one that beat Lyndhurst. Par Hills lost the sectional championship to Lyndhurst last year. Both teams, I think, good programs. Par Hills in a shootout. I'm going with Kenny. 34-27.
All right, we ready?
Great
for our
game.
next
That might
one?
be game. That might be another game of the week.
Okay.
Yeah. What else you got? Give me
We
next.
have 3 more before
3
we
more.
go off. So let's fly through them here. We got 2-2 Rutherford at 2-2 Lodi.
Okay. What do you got?
Okay, This is another one that's a hard one to pick. I'm going Lodi, and let's see. Ooh, Kenny's calling it an upset. He's got 13-12 Lodi,
Okay.
and Mr. Beelan has Rutherford. We've agreed on so many tonight. There we go.
So
Here's the
Beelan's
difference.
going Lodi.
No.
No.
Beelan's going Rutherford.
Kenny's going
Kenny
Lodi.
and I are going Lodi.
Okay, and I am going. I'm going to go Rutherford. You know, I think Lyndhurst lost a heartbreak. Lodi lost a heartbreaker last week at Garfield. Played their hearts out, and I think that loss is going to kind of go into this weekend for them. I think Rutherford puts up points. I'm going to go 27-21 Rutherford over Lodi.
All right. Our next matchup is 2-1 Teaneck at 3-0 Nutley.
You know what's good about this one?
What's
2
that?
new teams with the 2 new logos. You know, you win. Hey, you start winning, you get on the board. That's what it is. You know.
All right. So I'm picking Nutley. Let's see. Where's Kenny here? Nutley. Kenny is picking Nutley 27-13. Beelan's picking Nutley 28-22. So the 3 of us are going with Nutley. How about you?
I am going with Nutley too. I just think again 3-0. Again, Teaneck's been a good program, but I don't know. I think I'm going to go Nutley just a little bit. Have a nice run. Neely's asking how's Teaneck playing sports with their school the school still closed. Seems that they are. The game's not canceled,
Yeah,
so
not yet. Anyway,
it's a clean board on. Don't disappoint us, Nutley. We'll take that logo right off the screen next week.
And our last game for predicting in week 5 is Hudson Catholic, who's 2-2 at 4-0 Del Barton. I'm gonna go with Del Barton on this one. Is that the correct one? 4-0 Del Barton? I didn't think they were 4-0.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
They suffered their first
No.
loss. No. Okay.
Nope.
Alrighty. So 4-0 Del Barton. Kind of again. I'm gonna go back. I doubted them in that first week, and they've definitely impressed me. So I'm picking Del Barton, and let's see. Kenny has Del Barton 34-14. He says they're making a case for themselves as one of the best private schools in the state, which is a huge statement coming given the parochial school, prowess that exists in our state.
Okay.
Beelan also is picking Del Barton 35-21. And you?
I am going Del Barton also. Listen, I mean, they beat DePaul, Bosco, and more. Enough said. Defense too tough for Hudson Catholic. I'm going to go 32-6 Del Barton. Kenny does have a question because Kenny always, which is very good, Kenny does come up with
Asked you to rank something?
Asked us to rank, and his ranking is, we're ready for his 5, and I believe he's asking me Ramapo, Wayne Hills, Northern Highlands, Ridgewood, and Riverdale. Okay. So if I got to answer that this year, I'm still going to be... Listen, it's tough because Riverdale beat Ramapo right now. I would still go Ramapo because I might say I'm a Ramapo homer, but they had the 2-score lead. But let's be fair. And listen, we got to give them Riverdale their due. So I'm going to go Riverdale, Ramapo, Wayne Hills, Northern Highlands, Ridgewood. And if Kenny wants to go, if I'm going to go for programs, though, in general, overall, I'm going very close. Ramapo, Wayne Hills, I'm going to say probably Ridgewood with the history, Riverdale, and Northern Highlands.
And that's strictly football programs.
That's football programs. If you want to answer that any other way, do you want to answer that another? I'm going to go strictly football.
The reason I'm saying is because a lot of those schools are just strong in so many sports programs,
Right.
which was another discussion we had.
But I'll tell you this though, that I don't know if Ramapo is going to get another shot at Riverdale. I mean, Ramapo and Wayne Hills are going to decide that next week. But then I think Ramapo's eyes will be on that. But other than that,
all right, I think we are done for the evening.
Great show. Again, I want to thank Coach for coming on, talking about the what do you want to call it? Dynasty?
Program. Yep. I think Dynasty. It was selected in NJ.com as one of the New Jersey dynasties of all time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, I mean, that's, like I said with that question with the pressure, I mean, that's real.
I have a little different answer on that. We talked about that last week. I did not feel pressure as a player. I didn't. I felt pressure as a coach.
Well, right. Well, you know what it is too. You probably didn't I'm trying to say, like, you see it more as a coach as like, oh my God, I got to win. And
but she had a little unique circumstance. They were, especially her senior year, going for that fourth title in a row.
Well, Neely's saying, what are we talking about next week? Well, here's what we want to do. One, we're gonna talk a little Kearney girls soccer.
Hopefully,
that's number one. Number two, Neely sent me some great information about some basketball rules,
that's great,
and we want him to come on.
That'd be great.
We would love him to come on as an official, and 100%. Talk about that. Right now, that's the early agenda. But listen, things change, and hey, I would love to get, maybe the winner of. I know Coach Breslin's working. We'll try to get a couple of coaches from a couple of other schools. Try to get. I mean, the game of the week we're talking about Beckton Heights, the winner of that game. We would love to have on other sports going. You know what I'm trying to say, and it's awesome. So.
Thank you for everybody who tuned in this evening.
Comments were great. Thank you, Beelan. Thank you, Coach Breslin. Thank you, of course, Kenny. Neely, thank you very much. And again, that would be awesome to get his perspective on those rule changes on basketball, indoor sport, and do that.
I know Sandy, I don't think we got to talk about it last week, but Sandy Seegers gave us a little tidbit about, and maybe he can confirm this for us, the difference, the jump ball difference for the starting. Was that in, I think there's a different, that
was part of his law. Again, I don't want to get, I'd rather him do it.
Save it for next week.
Coach Breslin saying I have some contacts at Beckton. I can reach out if needed. 100%. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
And by the way, Coach Breslin, and because Kenny's on here, I spoke with him. We definitely we're going to talk K&K Sports Show.
Apparel.
We want the apparel. We want the hoodies. Well, we might have to get a little all in on high school sports hoodie. You know what I'm saying? We might have to do something with there.
Absolutely.
Because other school, we haven't got anything from PV. I'm waiting for some hoodies, You took all my Ramapo stuff. But no, great show tonight, Hoops.
Yep. Nice
great
work.
show.
Thank
Watch
you
a little of the World
in.
Series.
Good luck to everybody this week who's playing. Stay safe.
Absolutely. And I can't wait for that Ramapo Wayne Hills game next week, too. So nothing like it. All right, guys. Have a good night.